Welcome, Nathan. How are you?
Great, thanks, Sarah.
Now we're doing a bit of a get together because we want to kind of share to people your experiences. Number one, with the work that I've done.
Yeah.
You're already an icon on my website. You already got a video on my website, so people can watch that. But you've been through my success program. A lot of people don't know that I do success work.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the success work you did before you came and met me.
Not your stuff, you mean?
Yeah, what did you do out there?
So I've done a lot. I've read a lot of books over the years. So I was actually talking to someone yesterday about it, and I reckon it spans back about 15 years when I first had a business coach, and he recommended a book to read. So I started reading different types of books about business, and then I got into personal development. Started with Anthony Robbins. I've done lots of different things through Perth, through Melbourne, been to Sydney, been to Queensland. Anything that I could get my hands on that kind of gave me an answer or kind of could help me find out why I couldn't make my business successful, which I always knew it was me because I'm the common denominator. So I've had a few different businesses in the past, and I've changed jobs a lot. I've done a lot of different things. I was never really happy in anything. I was finding that I was stuck somewhere. Something was going on. I reckon that I've probably spent over $200,000 in the last 10 years, and that includes flights and travel and stuff, but just trying to do different things. I remember going to this seminar with Chris Howard, and I've done Tony Robbins or Anthony Robbins, and I call them rah-rah seminars now because you go, you get all excited, they build you all up, and next week you go back to work and all of a sudden you go back to normal life and everything just goes back to normal and you kind of forget about it. You remember the experience a little bit, but nothing really changes. I've implemented a lot of different things as well. I've done some DeMartini stuff through books, and then there's a guy in Perth that runs a seminar company called MJB, and he does a similar process to John DeMartini, and I've done that, and then I've developed that a bit myself as well because I've got quite an extensive knowledge of things. And even though I've done all that, I just found that it still didn't give me the answers, didn't give me what I wanted, and it never really made a big difference. And I've implemented a lot of that stuff into my life, and going through, I suppose, a time when my daughter was born, and financially we went through nearly bankruptcy, nearly lost everything. It was a really, really tough time for us, and I was still trying to find these answers, and I basically...
So tell me, you actually did all this work to change your blueprint, to so-called change your thinking system, and you still ended up in financial stress.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Like after doing all that, I would say after doing all this stuff and spending all this money in probably the end of 2008, early 2009, when... Can I swear?
Yeah.
So shit really hit the fan. Like we lost our house, we lost all our cars, everything was getting repossessed. We had to sell off everything we owned. We had debt collectors knocking on our doors all the time. We were summoned to court over debts and money owing. At the same time, a business franchise that we bought was taking us to court, and so we spent 9 months fighting them in court over something that wasn't our fault. They were very unethical in what they were doing and trying to take us for everything, so that was added stress on everything else. So we went from living in a beautiful house and having brand new cars and everything to living in the cheapest, worst house we could find, because that's all we could afford, living on 2-minute noodles and Weet-Bix, like literally Weet-Bix, and just enough food for us to survive, and then making sure that our daughter had the best of everything still, because she was only 1 and 2 at the time, and I was working 2 jobs, my wife was working, we were doing tag team type things, so it was really, really stressful time. And then I went mining for a bit. I got injured on a mine site and they couldn't help me. And that's when the depression really, really started to hit. And that's where it got to a stage where I was depressed, I couldn't get out of bed, I was so it was in so much pain all the time. I spent 6 months lying down most of the time. Only time I got up was go to see a doctor or the physio. The rest of the time I spent in my bedroom, and I don't know how that affected my wife and daughter. I'm surprised they stayed around. But then I tried to self-motivate myself and got into real estate, and then within, I would say, about 9 months I got to that stage, as you know through the other video, that I was just about to kill myself. I'd had enough. I'd spent everything. A friend of mine told me about you, and I just said, nah, I'm over it. I'm sick of spending money, nothing works.
Because that's the problem. You go from one place to another, and everyone promises you the secret to success.
Yeah.
But all the knowledge in the world doesn't change your blueprint.
No. So and that's the thing, like they tell you they have the answer, but I found through these seminar systems and all these courses you do, they're not going to tell you the answer. They tell you the answers in the next seminar. So they'll start off with maybe a free seminar or $1,000 seminar, and then the next one's like $3,000 or $5,000, and you'll go to that, and then that's a week long, and then they'll build you up and go, oh, but the next one's like $15,000 or $20,000, and that's where the answer is. And you go to that one, and then they try and sell you another one, and you start thinking, hold on a sec, like when am I ever going to get help and support? And the funny thing is they love you and you're their best friend when you're there, but when you email them later or you call them or want some help or advice or you've got questions, they're nowhere to be seen. Unless you're signed up for another one. If you're signed up for the next seminar, they're like your best friend. But the moment you stop paying or stop having anything to do with them, and there's no money incentive to them, they couldn't care less. I've tried to contact a few of these people that I've been to seminars and stuff, that they act like your best friend when you're there, but the moment you leave, no, nothing. And so I was always hungry for these answers. And like I said before, a friend of mine told me about your stuff, and I said, no, I've had enough. And it wasn't until that one day where my daughter came in to see me and said, Daddy, I love you. And it just made me think that I can't kill myself. I can't end it. Like, I've got responsibility to my daughter and my wife and things like that. So then I rang him, he gave me your details, I rang you, came and saw you, and that was the big change. That in itself was, I suppose, the biggest life change that I had. I remember, and I can still remember now, driving away, and there wasn't anything going on in my head. There wasn't this natter or these voices or none of this negative self-talk saying you're useless, you're no good, you can't do this, you'll never be successful. All these things that I know lots of people deal with, because these seminar systems are full of people looking for the answer. And I remember going away and just noticing the change, and I went and saw a friend of mine a week or two after, and she was telling me what she was dealing with, and she said, I've noticed a massive change in you. And I said to her, yeah, and I told her about your stuff, and she said, I can't believe the big change. It's only been about 3 weeks since I saw you. And I said, yeah, it's huge. I said, I don't have these voices talking to me in my head anymore. And that's what, I suppose, when you told me about your success program.
Because we got you to the point where you were happier.
Yeah.
You were emotionally secure. You were not depressed. You were feeling really good. And then I said to you, I took a leap of faith, and I said to you, I've got these success programs. They were my older success programs, but they were fairly good, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, I remember, I think about 6 months in, you showed me the survey I filled out when I first came and saw you. I'm like, this isn't me, I never did this. But it's not until you see proof that what you were really like. And for me, I've always been a positive person and really pushed myself so hard. So I'd never post anything negative on Facebook or that. So even though now you get these memories showing up on your Facebook feed, I look back and I know the mindset I was in back then, and I pushed so hard to stay positive and that. So even though I see it, it's not a true reflection. It was only when I saw that survey. And even the success one we just did recently, I look back at the survey I did the first week, and I can't believe the change. Like, I remember the first week after I filled it out, and I didn't feel any different. I didn't feel much difference at all, and I was thinking, nah, I don't think this has worked. I don't know. And you said to me, give it time. It's not just a flick a switch. It takes time, because and it's like what 35.
Because we're talking about the Unstoppable You program now, aren't we? Yeah.
Sorry, did you not mean go there? Okay.
Oh no, go there because we did some other programs before that, and it got you into getting back into life. How were they different to what you'd learned?
The money one was probably the biggest one for me because I'd struggled so much financially and nearly went bankrupt and lost everything, and I mean everything, financially. And I'd put this budget program in place that worked really, really well. But it wasn't until I did your money one that I remember coming to see you and said, it's really weird. My budget is so strict and tight, yet there's more money in my bank account at the end of the month than I've ever had before, and I don't know how. It's not possible. Because I had all these separate bank accounts and this money system and this budget that was so strict, I couldn't work it out. And it just kept evolving, and it was going.
And you
really,
eventually
really
went on holidays too, didn't you?
Yeah. I've been on a few holidays since. Well, I've been to Phuket about 4 times and Bali once. So.
Yeah.
So that's in the 4 years since I saw you.
Yeah. So which is really good. So we did those. They changed your life.
Yeah.
But did you get more value out of those than the $200,000?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I said to you before, the guy I was talking to yesterday, I was thinking about it, and I just can't believe how cheap your stuff is, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way or anything, but I look back at some of the stuff I've done. Like I went to a 2-day seminar in Bathurst, and it cost me 10 grand plus flights and accommodation and getting there and all the other bits and pieces that come with it, and it didn't make a difference. It took years before I actually realised some of the things I learned helped my business and helped me. And even now I look back and think, no, that wasn't worth the $10,000 I spent.
Because the greed market is really quite emotionally driven.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I've always kind of thought my work I could pitch it at $20,000, $30,000 because of the change.
Yeah.
But then you know, is it really, you know, do you do that and actually limit yourself? Or do you get it out there and change people's life in a more dynamic way?
Yeah, well, I like, I suppose the way you just said that is more, if you're cheaper and better, then you'll be able to help more people.
Yeah,
and it's about helping people.
Well, that's what I want to do. I really want to do that. So then I talked to you about, because what I did, you know, because people will be listening to this and they can only see you, but they can't see me. Isn't that great?
Yep.
but then what I did was I challenged myself to actually rise to the occasion and become unstoppable in 10 days.
Yeah.
And so I enrolled you into that possibility because you already trust me. You've had amazing success.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, because I want people to know what Unstoppable's like, because all that other stuff I can't even promote that anymore because it was still good, but this is my premium product. Yeah. So tell them a little bit about what you were like before you started and what it.
I had just changed companies, so. I'd been a bit, I suppose, plateaued a fair bit with the last company. I wasn't growing or moving. My last 2 years, I'm in sales, so my last 2 years have been pretty much exactly the same. So that to me just said, hey, you're not growing. So I found this company that I could see a difference in. I'd only been there about 6 or 7 weeks, and you told me about this program. And I was very hesitant at the start, but then the more we talked about it, the more I said, okay, let's go. And I can look back now and say this to you, but I couldn't say it to you at the start. But you were a lot more excited than I was. You're like, are you excited? I'm like, yeah. But I wasn't really. I was a bit nervous as well. Like, is it really going to work? Because I've done a lot. So, and I do trust you, but even still, there's a lot of stuff in the past that you've done that always catches up with you. Like you think about what's happened in your past and the way you trust people and things like that. So it takes a while. But
well, the trust comes from being let down so many times.
Yeah. And it's stuff you bring from childhood and that as well. So when you told me about this program, I'm like, yeah, okay. And then every day you told me what was going to happen, and it kind of made me excited. I'm thinking, yeah, that'll be cool. Like this and this and this, get rid of your past and get rid of the negative stuff from childhood and help redevelop that and things like that. And I remember it must have been within the first couple of days, but my new boss, so this is a guy who runs a very, very successful business, gave me a massive project. And this is kind of like make or break, because if this didn't work out, it could very well stuff his business up and his reputation. But he trusted me enough to give it to me. So it's something that he must have seen in me that said, hey, I can trust this guy, or this guy's good, I'm going to give it to him. And so he gave the project to me, and I just took it. I didn't really ask many questions. I just worked my ass off on it, got everything all ready, and gave it to him and showed him, and he was really impressed. And as time gets on, he's using me as an example in the office a bit, because I'm still developing and learning, but the excitement and everything that I have is, I think, more infectious than anything. And I like the fact that he can trust me with these bigger projects. Like, I've just got 11 listings this month, which is phenomenal. Like, that's unreal for the fact that I've just started with this company, and you've got to kind of start again in real estate. When you join companies, it's hard to move in that, because people don't always trust the new company. They don't know it, especially they may know you. So it's a massive learning curve to learn that, plus get your clients to trust you and understand that, hey, you're with me, not with them. So it's been really, really good. And even last week, like, I had probably one of my best weeks in real estate since I've changed this new company last week, which was just phenomenal. It felt like everyone was saying yes to me. I didn't get many no's at all, and like in sales, that's really, really different. And it's also June, which is one of your quieter months of the year as well, and I go away next week, so I needed to push really hard before I've gone away. But then also the fact that I've been given all this project and I've got to get it all done before I go away next week. Normally I'd be overwhelmed, like, it's a massive undertaking to do this a week before you go on holiday and try and make sure everything's ready and sorted and no mistakes and it's all ready to go. But I don't feel overwhelmed or anything. I feel pretty cool and calm. It's like, to me, it just seems easy now.
And see, that's what Unstoppable is. One of the guys that went through the program the same time as you said, I'm not like a bull at the gate. And I said, but when you're in flow is a different energy to force.
Yeah.
And everything that, when you actually are in that flow and everything is kind of, the synergy of life connects the dots together, you get to a point where everything's a breeze. What used to stop you before, that's what Unstoppable You is all about.
Yeah.
It's what used to stop you before doesn't stop you now.
Yeah, well, I definitely have noticed that in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Especially this week. Like, the fact that I've got all this project that normally I'd probably be shitting myself going, what the hell do I do? Like, where do I start? And then now I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just do this and this, and it'll be all good.
Yeah.
And even the guys, I just emailed the guys at work today something, and they're all, it's kind of like, I feel different, so I'm saying what I feel in emails and that, and the guys read it and they're like, oh, go man, like, I can't believe, like, go, which I reckon would motivate them as well.
You do, you become infectious.
Yeah.
But before you started, now that you've actually experienced what it's like to be in performance, now you're actually like in peak performance now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So have you noticed a big contrast between before and after?
Yeah, definitely. Well, September last year I had my biggest month ever in real estate, and I didn't have any help or support from my old company or anything, and it was overwhelming. Like, I was massively stressed all the time. I was not sleeping. I was kind of really overwhelmed. It was just a stressful month. And then the next month I did okay, and then the next month I crashed. And in my kind of line of work in sales, you can't afford to crash, because if you crash, it affects you later on and makes your business a lot harder to keep going. Whereas this month, the way it seemed, it's kind of just gone up massively, but it's kind of also projecting into next month, and it's just kind of like you said, flow. Excuse me. But I can see that I'm not overwhelmed, I'm not stressed, I'm pretty cool and calm about it, and just like, that kind of just seems like the norm now.
So your productivity's increased?
Yeah.
Has your procrastination dropped?
Yeah, actually, I noticed that this morning. Like, normally on my Wednesdays I have off, I lay in bed a fair bit and just chill. But today I'm motivated to work and actually do stuff. Like even last night, I worked till probably about 8 o'clock, 8:30 last night, whereas normally when I've got a Wednesday off, I'll just chill a bit and I'll go, oh, well, if I don't finish it now, I'll do a couple hours tomorrow, so it'll be alright, I've got the day off. Because I enjoy what I do, so I work on my days off. That's fine for me. But yeah, I feel a lot different. Like, we probably should have done a video a month before I started, because then you would have seen the difference, because I don't think I would have had the same kind of energy.
Look, your enthusiasm's infectious.
Yeah.
And do you know how you said that you had a great week last week and everyone says yes?
Yeah.
80% of our communication is non-verbal.
Yeah.
So in sales, if you're down, if you feel defeated, if you do all this, that's communicating to that person and they automatically go no.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Monday I had something happen in my personal life that affected me quite a bit, and it changed my brain a bit, and I could feel that, I don't know, it just made me feel really bad. And normally I would say I'd wallow on that for a couple of days, but within an hour I'd forgotten about it, and within a couple of hours I was in appointments and back on fire again. So it didn't affect me nowhere near as much as it normally would.
Yeah.
Like if I had that happen to me, say 6 months ago, I probably would have taken a whole week off work and just gone, oh, stuff it then. Like, if that's going to happen, fine. So it was quite an interesting thing.
But that's actually being unstoppable. So the things that come in your way, because what they don't teach in seminars is the challenges of life.
Yeah.
They teach you the mechanics, and a mechanic is really good. Anyone can grab a mechanic and then go out there and put it into place. But as soon as an obstacle comes into your world that breaks that mechanic, you flounder.
Yeah.
So this is actually changing, re-engineering your blueprint so you can be extraordinary no matter what happens.
I feel that I can deal with things better as well. Like just what's been going on. I don't want to get into too much detail because someone might know when I watch this and that. But I think just being able to deal with things that come up a lot better than I would. And my boss even said in the meeting yesterday that in kind of sales you can't afford something to affect you and you crawl up into a ball in the corner and go and I thought about that and I thought I've done that in the past, so I know what he's talking about, and I think everyone has. And in sales you can't afford to do that, because if you go and do that and then you go and meet a client an hour later, what do you think you're going to be bringing to that client and that table and the energy, and they pick up on it and they'll go, yeah, I don't want to do business with this guy.
That's exactly right. You know,
Yeah.
and that's actually that non-verbal communication. Your brain's telepathic, so it's sending out signals to the other people.
Yeah.
And if you're not motivated, if you're not passionate, but if you're not authentic as well, so you've got to be authentic.
Actually, yeah, authentic's a massive thing.
Yeah.
Well, I had a really, really good meeting with some clients of mine, and I built an amazing relationship with them recently, and it's quite challenging for them because they were on the market with another agent. They'd never had anyone through the home open or anything, so they had no result whatsoever in 6 months. And I went and met with them yesterday. We've had 33 inquiries and 25 people through the home open in 45 days. We haven't got them the result yet, but it's just my motivation and my passion, and like you said, I'm authentic about it. I'm not lying to them or anything. I'm telling them the truth. And they understand that the market's different, and they understand things that are going on, but the fact that I can still be there, help them through it, and talk to them all the time, and I've got that passion and energy. I noticed just talking to them yesterday, they both seemed very, very down and just like, oh, life's got me down, we need to sell, this is what's happening and that. But by the time I left, they were both smiling, they were really happy, and she was laughing, and we were having a great little time. And it was just a very casual chat. It didn't feel very businessy at all.
Yeah.
And I think they picked up on that.
And that's actually about being authentic.
Yeah.
You know, not putting on a sub-personality to protect what's really going on inside of you. You know,
Yeah.
sort of going into a meeting, and if the chips are down, you don't put on this front and try and sell them a story that it's going to be okay.
Oh, mate, yeah. Well, I've done a lot of seminars where they say you tell yourself, "Oh, it's going to be a great day. It's a great day," and then all of a sudden your boss tells you you're useless and you're going to get fired if something doesn't happen, and that's the first thing that happens in your day, and you keep trying to tell yourself you're positive and stuff, but you can tell yourself that as much as you want, but it doesn't make a difference. Like, I've done the affirmations and the courses where they teach you to jump up and down and tell yourself in the mirror all this kind of stuff, and I call it rah-rah stuff because it does work, but the moment you stop, that's it.
Well, yeah, if you affirm yourself and say that you're the best salesperson out there, and you look at your bank account, your belief system's going to take that away. So telling yourself that you're one thing and your belief system's another, is like saying you're being a dog and walking out and saying I'm a cat.
Yeah, well, they say that in real estate. A lot of the real estate stuff, they say. Fake it till you make it.
I know.
I can't do that. Like, I can't.
But
lie.
that's not being authentic.
So yeah, but I can't lie. Like, I see clients and that, and like a client may not want to hear something I have to say, so I don't sugarcoat it. I may not tell them that way, but I think I still feel they need to hear it, so I tell them. But when they say like fake it till you make it, like go drive like a Lamborghini or something when you're not worth anything and wear $1,000 suit. And I remember a seminar where a guy said you should always keep $1,000 in your pocket so you know you're rich. And I'm thinking, yeah, I've tried all that kind of stuff, and it just
But see,
doesn't work.
your belief systems don't support it. So if you've got $1,000 in there and you've got debt collectors coming out to get you,
this is before that, but yeah.
There's no congruency.
Yeah.
You know, there's no congruency. So the brain actually gets a little bit disturbed by it because you're lying, you're kidding yourself and you're lying, and people can pick it up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm hoping, like I've noticed, I lose a bit of business because I'm honest, and other guys, or other people I should say, will tell the client what they want to hear. So they might say property's worth 450 and I say it's worth 400, and then they list with that person, and then it sits on the market for 6 months and they get them 380. And I know that I would have got more than 400 early on, and they wouldn't have wasted that time and energy and everything. But I can't do that, so I know I lose business over it. But I also feel that the way life's changing for me and moving, I'm beginning to understand that if I can convince people that I'm telling the truth and why I'm telling them this, as opposed to them just hearing it and going, well, I'd rather go with this guy or the person who says I'm going to get more, that's going to be a massive difference. And I've noticed that, well, I would say at least 2 or 3 appointments I've seen recently, they haven't liked what they've heard, but I think that the way I've said it and my energy and just my being has told them that, hey, I'm the best person for the job, and I'm being honest because this is the best way to help you. Like someone I met last week, I guarantee that they felt that. Just we had an amazing chat and talk and everything, and just connected on a level that I haven't done that before.
Have you found that you're connecting with your clients better?
Yeah, a lot better.
Do you know that in itself is going to create you a wealth pathway?
Yeah, but also people in the office and that as well. Like I've noticed their attitude towards me has changed a bit as well. And I suppose like some of the stuff that I say in that, like 3 months ago doesn't feel like me.
Yeah.
But it is always me because it's always there. Like I always say awesome and amazing and stuff like that. But I suppose I haven't felt that way. Whereas now I actually really truly feel that way. So it's kind of like not having to tell myself a lie that is true. If you understand that?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah. But it's the feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it an incredible feeling?
Yeah.
You can actually go out there and work hard to be successful, but if you don't feel that way, if you don't have the passion, the enthusiasm, the excitement, everything like that, it's a process.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's a process now, or is it just it's flow?
Yeah, I don't know. Process doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah,
So I don't really know how that works. It doesn't feel right. But I feel that everything's flowing better.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like one day just flows well into the next.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a good story.
Yeah. Do you feel like you got more certainty about your future?
I haven't really thought about that. I try not to think too much about my future. I like try to be in the now and that. So like I know I'm going on holiday next week, and I've already actually I'll probably say yeah to that, because one of the ladies in the office I was talking to the other day, I was saying that I'm setting everything up for when I'm back. So I've kind of got this week sorted out and then setting everything up so everything just flows when I get back. And I had a meeting yesterday, sorted that out. I got a meeting when I leave here to set up what happens when I come back, so my clients know and everything just flows really well. So yeah.
So now you're the personal development sort of entrepreneur, or
Don't tell me about that.